Chainsaw Man is a series unlike any other, and I truly mean that. While I haven't read every manga under the sun, the story Tatsuki Fujimoto presents is phenomenal, and the massive wave of popularity that has come with it speaks volumes to this achievement. Of course, popularity and sales don't speak to quality, which I agree. However, it's important to keep in mind that it shows interest. Chainsaw Man has skyrocketed in recognition, whether this be through entering the top 10 most sold manga of the year without having an anime adaptation, conventions being swarmed with fans showing their appreciation for the characters, dozens upon dozens of some of the most incredible fan animations I've ever laid my eyes upon, and of course, some of the strangest and downright questionable memes to be spotted online. You should hopefully know what I mean by this. Which leads us now to present day, where the first episode of the anime adaptation has finally been released, marking the start of a new wave of anime fans jumping into the chaotic world that Chainsaw Man has offered. This, however, generates the question, why? Why has this series in particular generated such a large mass appeal that people like myself will not shut up about? This is what has led to this video's creation, as Chainsaw Man is one of my most favourite series of all time, and I would simply love to talk about it more, yet I'm aware there are plenty of newcomers that have been waiting for the anime to be released before diving in head first. And so the purpose of this video is to give a brief general discussion of what has made this series generate one of the fastest growing fan bases I've ever seen. So let's dive in to the appeal of Chainsaw Man. This story follows a young boy named Denji, who through a set of unique and unfortunate circumstances becomes fused with a devil, acquiring powers that allows himself to transform parts of his body into, you guessed it, chainsaws. This ability is incredible, especially for someone who still has their human consciousness after such a life-changing transformation, and so if there's something special about you, it's only a matter of time before someone notices. Enter Makima, a bright red-haired woman who acknowledges the potential Denji has created, forcing him to recruit himself into her devil hunting organization where his talents can be put to use for society. A new world of possibilities has opened up for Denji, whether he wanted it or not, providing an opportunity to adapt to what the big bad world has to offer to him. This is the world of Chainsaw Man, or should I say the world of Denji. What I love absolutely the most about Fujimoto's work is the clear journeys he sets his characters on, and the character arc Denji tumbles through is what made him one of, if not my favorite character of all time. Fujimoto has a way of capturing perfectly what makes us human, and he does this by focusing his attention on the strongest yet at the same time most delicate elements of human emotion that the heart has to offer. This could be from displaying how much of a blessing it is to feel such a rush of high energy that makes our cheeks go red from the happy grin on our faces, but at the same time to also showcasing how much of a curse it is to be so heavily connected to something that has now backfired on you because of that strong connection you were once so comfortable with, when the world doesn't favor you and so you're left alone trying to recover from that mental scar. It's a situation where you only have yourself to blame. This is the journey Denji travels down, as his growth as a character feels a lot like a coming of age story about a kid who's been thrown into the adult world and has to stand firm on his own 2 feet against the harsh reality that life continues to pile onto him. Denji's life started out small, and when I say small, I mean it in every sense of the matter. From his work schedule, his payments, his living space, and most noteworthy, his driving force to wake up every single day. But after merging with the Chainsaw Devil, Denji has been literally granted a new life. Yet even so, he still hasn't managed to fully transition himself. He still retains his rather small, childish, weak goals in comparison to those he meets, such as Aki, giving Denji his first taste of what is considered a normal dream that society recognizes as substantial. However, what I think is so amazing about Denji is that he realizes how small and shallow of a dream he has compared to everyone around him, yet he doesn't care. A dream is a dream, no matter how lowly it is. The fact that it's made him push through to live another day is enough conviction for him that it's a worthy goal. Even though the position Denji is in right now would be considered bottom class, he states how fine he is with living this way because anything is a step up in his books from the previous life of living off a piece of bread for a whole week. But because of this way of thinking, Denji doesn't realize just how valuable of an individual he is, and that in in fact, you can fight for more. You can reach further and gain additional newfound opportunities. This is the brilliant character journey Denji ventures down, as through his own trial and errors, he attempts to piece together on whether these dreams of his are truly worth chasing, figuring out if they're really just small checkpoints in his life that are slowly guiding him to a worthy goal. Influence plays a heavy factor in Denji's life on the kind of decisions he makes, each character bringing in something new that directly affects the pathway Denji walks, such as Aki, who I briefly mentioned before, a character who really does feel like the protagonist of his own manga. He's got a deep emotional backstory that makes his goal in life one worth chasing, along with his position as a devil hunter, making sense for why he chose this line of work. And so with that in mind, it's all the more of a spit on the face to him to everything he's worked for when Denji gets thrown into the same line as work as him. I mean, just look at this single panel. From Denji's ruffled up clothes and hair, bent posture and wandering gaze, compared to Aki's tidy clean clothes and hair, straight posture and focused look. You can really tell who worked hard to get to this position and the amount of hardship they stand for. So for Aki, it infuriates him seeing such a person stand side by side to him with such a weak-minded pathetic dream. Yet what makes it even more of a blow to the gut is how this boy was specifically chosen by Makima, a powerful individual within the Devil Hunter Association who has earned Aki's utmost respect. Makima is someone both Denji and Aki idolize for very different reasons, as her presence gives her a powerful sense of authority that Fujimoto makes clear in the first few chapters of her introduction, from providing all the answers to us on how devils work, to then how she immediately becomes Denji's light, where he becomes so captivated by her that he resorts to being her dog, whatever it takes to earn her praise and respect. Makima makes herself known as the upperclassman, where everyone is wrapped around her finger, this including devils themselves like Power, who brings that extra spice of chaos to the team, even with it already feeling chaotic enough. Power is known as a fiend, which basically means she's a walking corpse that has been taken over by a devil, resulting in everything that comes out of this human appearance is directly from the devil's lips itself that has taken over this human body. Whenever Power is on the page, you can expect things to quickly go off course due to her compulsive superiority complex, where she feels like she herself is the main character. And just only moments ago, I was given an example on why Aki himself feels like a main character to a typical shonen story. So now with Power included into that mix through her own means, you can only imagine just how insane of an unbalanced bunch of different personalities we now have clashing heads with one another. Yet even with the uncontrollable nature Power brings, she also becomes the example that even devils themselves aren't just blood-hungry creatures that want complete and utter destruction. These types of moments do exist, and I think that blend of insane off-the-wall gory action to then exploring emotion through the relationships we share and how much it influences our life decisions is truly a standout element for Chainsaw Man. The journey these characters embark on is truly incredible, and the way Fujimoto incorporates downtime with these characters is simply perfect. We see them partake in such high-octane bloody battles that it's very possible we forget that these are real people charging headfirst into these conflicts. They're not machines, and they're certainly not invincible. Each person you encounter within this story is fighting to keep their hopes and dreams alive, whether that be deep-rooted like Aki's or clear-cut like Denji's. Fujimoto will make sure to bring us back down to reality, and honestly, these are the parts of Chainsaw Man that I adore the most. And as I mentioned, it's quite impressive he's able to create the right emotions for the reader to get immersed into without it being borderline laughable. As let's say for one chapter, you could be in the midst of a close quarters battle with the most horrific mangled looking devil that takes up an entire hallway, only for then the very next chapter to focus on a nice get together at a local bar once the shift has ended, acting like you hadn't just witnessed some of the most downright disturbing imagery ever. And like I touched upon, these moments where the story slows down are oftentimes the most rewarding and memorable parts of this entire manga, or at least it was for me anyway. This is very important to point out because I can easily see people getting into Chainsaw Man with the expectation of it being a meathead series. This could be from just looking at some of the vicious artwork that has come out from it, or potentially how the anime has presented itself through its dark and rather gloomy visual style. Hell, even the name Chainsaw Man could create this assumption, and all of what I said is true. I've seen people online who thought this series was just that, a goofy standard action manga.
You know what's crazy is that like when Chainsaw Man was first coming out, I was just like, this seems like the dumbest series ever. Like the image for it just seems dumb. It's just like, what is this? It just seems dumb. It's literally just, it's Chainsaw Man, and it's just a dude with a chainsaw for a head and chainsaws for arms. It's just some like yeah, just some dumb action comic is basically what it looks like. It's almost unfortunate that the way it pitches and promotes itself is so different from what the series is actually about and the vibe that it's actually about, which is like the total polar opposite of a, you know, a generic gory action manga or something like that. It really, really betrays the truth of what the series potential is.
So while I can't go too deep into some of the best themes of the series that Fujimoto explores due to spoilers, I can most definitely reassure you that Chainsaw Man will break your expectations just like it did for me. Denji is my favorite main character in all of manga, and I can tell you right now, it's not because Chainsaw go brr brr. His growth as a character is one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had reading a manga, and relatability does come into play here for me. When you become slightly unsure of the direction you're going in, and it becomes all the more of a daunting pressuring task because of how you've been thrown into the big bad world where you must learn to adapt. One of Fujimoto's core messages through this story is that you're never going to be the best version of yourself straight away, and that's perfectly fine. Life is all about growing and learning, and unfortunately the world will often teach you this the hard way, whether it be through the people you meet or events that you directly take part in. You yourself has a better chance of changing compared to the world around you, so why become just an object for it to push you around in when you can be something so much more? You can be yourself. Fujimoto is a master at demonstrating what makes us truly human, or I guess alive, since this also includes devils. And the reason why he's able to capture this emotion so perfectly is not only because of the journeys he sets these characters on, but through his artistic interpretation of how he draws these moments onto paper. The way he draws facial expressions especially showcases this. From the harsh excessive amount of lines for wrinkles or sweat drops to show the most exaggerated of expressions, to then the quieter moments where just a minimal amount of line strokes is needed to not overcomplicate the atmosphere for the type of situation the story is presenting. There are moments of downtime that I've touched upon before, so there's no need to carry the same energy onto every single page. And what helps elevate these drawings and moments is Fujimoto's art style. It feels very sketchy, or I guess a better way to phrase it would be rough, as it's not completely refined, and that's completely fine. In fact, I'd argue this is the ideal art style for the series, particularly when it comes to the faces like I just touched upon, helping display how a lot of the time these characters could break at any moment. So having it be less refined matches the lifestyle they wake up to every day, because the world they're living in is both symbolically and literally from a story and now art perspective, rough. However, where the art of Chainsaw Man truly shines is through the gritty action and bloody imagery that takes place when it comes to these insane death battles. The sharp artwork coincides perfectly with how violent the situation can turn in seconds, whether it be through the chaotic detailed slashes of a chainsaw breaking apart bodies, or to a complete and utter bloodbath painting. There is no limits to the brutality Fujimoto demonstrates, which allows him to be super expressive with his work where no fight feels like a clone of the previous encounter. Each fight always has something new at play that'll surprise you. So now that I spent a lot of time talking about the manga, I want to share my brief thoughts regarding the anime adaptation. At the time of me making this video, the first episode has not been released yet. However, if I've managed to stay on schedule, this video should have been released on the day the very first episode airs. And if that's the case, look out for my comment below regarding my thoughts on it. But for right now, I want to discuss my expectations and how I'm currently feeling. From the look of the trailer, it really does seem like the studio MAPPA staff are incredibly passionate about making this series reach the highest potential possible when it comes to the visual quality. Nevertheless, the visual style the anime has chosen has actually led to some backlash. While it does involve a rather drained color palette that feels very dark and will only help emphasize the grittiness this world has to offer, many argue that it also comes with the side effect of feeling too lifeless and lacking a sense of creative flair, making the overall product feel a bit too safe for some fans' liking. And I can completely understand where they're coming from. If you didn't know, there's an official colored version of the Chainsaw Man manga available online, and within it you'll see a beautiful mixture of vibrant colors that complement each other incredibly well, which I didn't expect at all. I too thought a darker color scheme would suit the tone of this manga, yet I was proven wrong. But I'm not saying it was a necessity for the anime to match a similar aesthetic to the colored version of the manga. The anime staff are also capable of displaying their own creative expression while making sure to not stray too far off the beaten path. And so for me, I'm pretty happy and excited with what we've been given so far. Plus, to top it off, the clips that have been shown gives the impression that every episode will look like a movie, and I'm praying it remains this consistent, because honestly, we could be on the verge of witnessing one of the best anime adaptations ever made made if it stays true to the very end. Of course, this should be a no-brainer, but hopefully the staff are being treated like humans and not machines during the development process, otherwise it's just going to leave a rather upsetting mark on the series. So my thoughts and prayers are with them. What has been confirmed, however, is that there will be no censorship at all, which is perfect. Because as I expressed before, letting Fujimoto go all out with how expressive he wishes the story to be lets us fully comprehend the vision he had for this manga, and so this truly is the best possible outcome. This leads on to my next point about whether they'll remain faithful to the manga, and since it's also been confirmed that Fujimoto is involved closely with the production, where the producer even said, "We want this to be a representation of the original, even down to the casting of the voice actors." From this, it seems like we can rest assured that the story of Chainsaw Man is in good hands. Only time will tell, but what I can say right now is that the Chainsaw Man manga is something everyone must check out for themselves, whether that's right now or after the anime has finished airing. This needs to be a manga each and every one of you dive into yourselves, where you can experience and appreciate the first-hand brilliance of Tatsuki Fujimoto's manga to its fullest. This is where you'll truly understand the appeal of Chainsaw Man. And so that's a wrap for this video. Chainsaw Man is currently sitting comfortably as my second favourite manga series of all time, and with the anime only having just started airing alongside part 2 of the manga, I know there's going to be a wave of curious anime and manga fans craving to see what the hype is all about. So through this video, I hope to help bridge the gap to others to give them a small taste of why this series has gained such an incredibly huge and passionate following over the past few years. I do plan to make more Chainsaw Man related videos in the future, but for now, I do want to give time to the anime to navigate its way through the source material a bit more. Not only so newcomers will be able to watch the topics I'll be digging into without the fear of being spoiled, but also because the anime itself could bring up entirely new discussions that potentially add on to my appreciation for the Chainsaw Man series as a whole. As I said, hopefully this video served as a good small introduction. So with that being said, if you did enjoy anything that I talked about, then please give the video a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified when I drop my next video. It's for free and it lets me know you enjoy my content, so if you're at least a slight bit interested, you might as well stick along for the ride. As well, do follow me over on my Twitter account at MikeyUB. It's the place where I'm most active, so if you want to message me over there about anything you want, then feel free. I've also recently opened up my own Discord server after a lot of comments about it, so if you do want to hop in, then the link is down below in the description. And also, please do comment below if there's anything you'd like to talk about, whether it's to do with Chainsaw Man or anything anime and manga related in general. Whatever the discussion is, I'll make sure to check it out. And with this, thank you all so much for watching this video to the very end. Hope you all have a great day, and bless.